Hemptress Hour. Today's show is all about aliens and marijuana. So toke that fat joint and let's leave 3D and be on with the show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Imagine a town where there are no small joints, just small stoners, where Kush is a girl's best friend, and law-breaking is the new liberty. It's the Hollywood Hemptress Hour, hosted by your honey blonde Hemptress, Terry Joyce. Yeah!
Welcome back to the show. I'm Terry Joyce. I'm your host, and today we have one of my favorite topics. It's all about aliens and marijuana. We also will have DJ Kuti coming on later on the show with the Compassion Flower Report. Want to give a shout out there to everybody out there in the Starseeds community, the Galactic Federation of Light, as well as anybody who is Pleiadian, Syrian, or Andromedan. We're all welcome. Nano. No. That was really dorky. Anyway, as I readjust myself. You may wonder why aliens and how does marijuana come into play with that? Well, there is a theory out there, you can search it online, that the word cannabis, meaning canine in Latin, cannabis, canine, and bi mean two or dog or star. It's like, you know, canine, the dog star. There's a theory that from the Dogon tribe as well, there are people that believe that marijuana or cannabis was actually brought here from Sirius, and that the plant itself may be extraterrestrial in its nature. And I thought, wow, what would happen if that were true? I mean, it just in theory, what if, like, when we finally have contact with other life forms, if they came down in a spaceship and like huge puffs of like smoke come out and they're like, yeah, throwing joints to the crowd, like, and guess what? Hey everybody, we're here, and now Jerry Garcia. So anyway, just my own little fantasy there. Wanted to share that with you. Later on today, we do have the alien comedian will be a special guest. He will be the main guest today. We also are going to have Shiloh Jinglefoot giving us a great delicious dishes recipe at the end of the hour. And but next we have DJ Kuti with the Compassion Flower Report, because even though we're going into outer space today, we want to find out what's going on in Los Angeles, California. We'll be right back.
I've seen how crop circles are made from a drunken, lonely, horny farmer chasing his animals around the field. Yes, you didn't know sheep could run with such symmetry, did you? I haven't come here to enslave you, at least not the blacks and the Jews. They've been through enough. You, white boy, you're going to learn to kneel, you hear me? I'm from the planet Satiri 4. It's just like your beautiful Los Angeles, except easier to find people who speak English. So. That's right, monkeys. Here's my green card right here. The 1040 EZ. Hydrogen oxygen dispersal armament pistol loaded with a deadly neurotoxin. Tap water from Covina. Don't fuck with me. It's got 3 settings: black, Latino, and Asian. What? It's just like the one the LAPD uses? Well, we call it a ghetto blaster. Best part is, it acts as a bomb on the weekends. You just put your shit in here. Yes, so it is good to be here in the Southland. Today I was in South Central Los Angeles, land of the 26-year-old grandmother, eh? Sorry if that hit too close to home, monkeys. Where are all the single females tonight? There's 3 of them. You see that? The rest are home with their children. Well, it's getting a little scary, humans. The other day I saw a single mother so young the baby was pushing her in the stroller.
Anybody falling? Anybody feel they're falling?
And is there a 10-minute wait?
Hello, we're back with Jade Kuti with the Patient Advocacy Network, giving the Compassion Flower Report. Just want to make a comment that the last video that you just saw is the alien comedian who will be coming on right after this segment, so stay tuned for the alien comedian. But right now we have Jade Kuti in Hollywood. Hi, Jade.
Hey, Terry, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent today. It's a beautiful day up here in wherever I'm at in the Oregon area. How is it down in Hollywood?
Well, you know, it's D-Day. Today is the day that the a ban in LA officially takes effect. It's September 6th, and enforcement may not take place at any time.
Wow. So what's the general kind of feeling right now out there? Are people afraid? Are they just don't care? I mean, are they prepared? I mean, what's going on?
Well, you know, there's a lot of different sentiment, and, you know, depending upon a person's, you know, whether or not they suffer from a lack of information or whether they have good information is probably going to, you know, impact that fear factor that people have. But people who are very informed, people who are smart, people who have good lawyers, people who are compliant with state law aren't closing. Nobody that I'm working with is closed. I've gotten some emails and some messages from people who are just completely panicked, saying that all the collectives around them are closing. I don't know who any of those people are. The big fear factors, of course, the enforcement. Mm-hmm. A couple weeks ago when, you know, this was kind of staring everybody in the face, people didn't seem too concerned because we all know that the city of Los Angeles, they really can't figure out how to get themselves out of a wet paper bag. So a lot of people weren't real concerned about LA conducting enforcement. But now that Council Member Bernard Parks, in his biggest pussy move of his political career,
I love
he
that
called
pussy move of his political career. It's like the two P's.
Yeah, right. That he called in the federal government to come enforce our marijuana laws. Now, one, we've got a California State Constitution, Article 3, Section 3.5, that says that our state and local government is sworn to uphold state law, not federal law. So I anticipate that there will be yet more lawsuits, and there are still more lawsuits. However, you know, the big thing right now is whether or not this group of industry people have gathered enough signatures to hold off the ban.
What's actually going on with that? Now, I read
you know, it's you know, it's yet another, you know, clusterfuck in what is Los Angeles and everybody's desire and ability to market anything to anyone to try to make money. You know, the thing about lawsuits versus a referendum is that lawsuits in some ways will be more impactful because once the judge says the city can't have a ban, there's not a lot anyone can do there.
Well, there's more people making money, definitely. I mean, do you think that has anything to do with that? I mean, I find it interesting that, you know, first of all, we voted for marijuana in the first place to be legalized, and then now we go back to, we went to have a vote on it again, and yet I feel that the people have less power than all this, mucky stuff with lawsuits and people, all this kind of stuff. And why
Yeah,
is
no,
that?
it'd be great in LA to have a political solution, and I've encouraged that because I've asked people, I said, at what point do you want to stop suing the city of Los Angeles and just be able to have an ordinance where you can go apply, pay any applicable fees, go through the applicable, hearings and inspections and get on with your life. And that's what most people want to do. And the only thing that's really going to do that is to put an actual voter initiative before the people of Los Angeles and give them an ordinance to vote on. Unfortunately, what we have now is a voter referendum. The election clerk's office is still counting those signatures to see if there are enough valid for it to go on the ballot. But the problem is then what happens when you put this before the voters? And I think that is the unfortunate thing that this group didn't think out all the way to the end. Or if they did think it out all the way to the end, they thought about it as, oh, this just isn't one fundraising opportunity. This is two fundraising opportunities. Because what happens is if they gather enough signatures to put it on the ballot, then it goes before the voters of Los Angeles in March or May. I've heard both stories in the news. Our city election here in LA, our primary is in March and our general election is in May. So it'll be in there, somewhere around there. What we do know about the city of Los Angeles is after a big general election, like we're getting ready to have in November, only about 11% of the voters get out and vote in the March and May elections. The people who get out to vote are the people who are in the pocket of the city government. It's mostly all union people, and those few people in the city who are incredibly active. Polls indicate that if you put this referendum in front of those people, it will lose. So this is what happens. If the referendum passes and they repeal the ban, what happens is the old ordinance goes back on the books. The old ordinance has a sunset clause in it that banned everybody weeks ago. So if the referendum fails, then medical marijuana is banned by the ban. If the referendum succeeds, then medical marijuana is banned by the old ordinance. Wow. It's a situation that this group has set up by just shooting themselves in both feet at the same time. So, of course, I believe what their inclination is to go, oh, we created this new mess. We've got to get us out of it. So now we're going to do a voter initiative. But my understanding is they want to ban everybody except the collectives that were open first in the city. They're trying to create an illegal monopoly with a handful of dispensaries based purely on when they opened, not how they operate.
Wow. So DJ, we have about a minute and a half left for the segment. What is the final thoughts that you want to include?
Well, I think the final thought that I'd like to leave everybody with, at least until we see what happens, is the fact that we're in a presidential election season. I don't think we're going to see the big smash and grab raids like we have seen in the past. The DEA landlord threat letter is already hitting Los Angeles. So for a few cents, for a piece of paper, some ink, and a stamp, they can try to scare a lot of landlords as opposed to the heavy-handed tactic of actual conducting raids that, of course, the media is very hungry for right now. It's very interesting doing news updates that I've done for many years for people, and what the news was like, a few years ago when I do my updates, maybe there'd be 12 or 20 stories from around the country about medical marijuana.
Yeah.
Now when I do it, I am literally going through hundreds, sometimes close to 1,000 news stories around the country about medical marijuana, whether it's New Jersey or Vermont or Washington, D.C. or Colorado. There's a ton going on, and the media is very hungry for it. So I don't think we're going to see smash and grab raids. I think we're going to see more an administrative approach to this. And so, yeah, I encourage all of our listeners, if they go to our Twitter feed right now at Pan for Compassion, Patient Advocates there on Twitter, there's a link to President Obama's campaign website where people can leave questions and comments. And I think this being the closing day of the Democratic National Convention and the fact that our president has totally ignored medical marijuana for weeks, even when he's been questioned about it in the media, he has just been silent on it. I think this is a good opportunity for people to, again, let the president know, hey, if you don't support medical marijuana, I'm not going to support you. You need to earn my vote. We have 2 third-party candidates now that support the legalization of marijuana. And I would just love to see everybody who votes and cares about this issue to not vote for one of the Illuminati parties, but actually vote for a third-party candidate, and let's make some real change. And people can sign up for email updates at cannabissaveslives.org. I still need a dedicated sponsor out there who's going to help us straighten out this rescheduling issue, and I'd love to hear from somebody who's going to help us take it all the way to Washington, D.C. and actually do something about this issue, as opposed to raising millions of dollars for the last 4 decades, what the other organizations have done and actually gotten us in a worse situation than better.
Well, thank you so much, JJ, and have a great week, and we'll check in with you next week to find out what's going on.
Absolutely.
Keep the good work.
Absolutely, Terry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patient Advocacy Network. We're going to be right back with the alien comedian. Stay tuned.
How long have you been married? Oh, well, you beat the California state record by 2.9 years. Very good. 3 years. You are indeed a warrior, my friend. And you, female drunken one, what is your name? No, you don't have to put it down just because I've properly identified you to the crowd. Indeed. What is your name?
Kim.
Kim. Excellent. And what is your mission here tonight?
To be entertained.
Oh, excellent. What's the matter? He can't do it for you at home? No, no, no. This is how you do it. Look at him. He's mutating before my very eyes. You went from pale to red in 3.2 seconds flat, my friend. It's fascinating. Fascinating. Yeah. Back in the table there, I saw in the back 1 male and 3 females. Oh, how your ears must bleed, my friend. Yeah. I'm definitely not here to destroy the planet. I'll leave that to the Republicans. Oh. Sit there and drink your chlorinated water, my friend.
You need an education.
Oh, I do. Would you care to challenge me on anything?
Yes, anything.
Speak.
Why would you want to trim the bush?
Maybe if you knew that, she wouldn't be whining here tonight, would she? I'll teach you some flanking maneuvers later, my friend.
Anybody falling? Anybody feel they're falling?
We're back. Thank you for staying tuned into the show. Right now, I want to introduce to the show the alien comedian, and thank you so much for coming into the show today.
No thanks needed. I'm happy to be here, Terry.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, I find it interesting that you're on a marijuana show. And my question to you is, do aliens partake in the herb?
Oh, across the universe there are many various types of cannabis, and of course, as in any society, people will get a hold of it and partake. So the answer is yes.
Wonderful. And so you have like, the different strains like sativas and I mean what is do you have like a certain favorite type that you like to smoke?
Well, I actually, I personally do not partake.
Uh-huh.
I have been thinking about trying it, I actually brought a picture of some. Would you like to see it?
I would love to see it.
All right, can you see it?
Oh, oh, wow.
That is known as cannabis carnivorous. And he's actually a friend of mine. So, however, he's very willing to share. If you ever want to pull off some of his leaves and smoke it, he's typically very good about it.
Oh, wonderful. So, I mean, like your cannabis actually has it's more like a life form.
Even on Earth, it's a life form. As you know, it's a plant, and plants, it's well known, at least in my period, that plants can communicate with each other. This is a slightly more evolved form of cannabis. There are many types of cannabis, actually. There's also cannabis growth, which have destroyed planets because
wow.
they grow at the rate of 50 feet per day. There's just aren't enough people to smoke it in time.
Wow. So, I mean, so what do you do with all that extra marijuana? Hey, why don't you bring some of it down here? We wouldn't have to go to Mexico for it.
Well, that's the reason you have abductions on your planet. We collect people, bring them back to smoke it, help save the planet.
Wow. I would love to be abducted. You think can I bring some friends too? I mean, just as long as, we can go back.
Well, you'd have to get used to the various types of cannabis. Sometimes they have different effects. For example, tell me some of the effects of your cannabis.
Well, some people, they say they get the munchies. Some people, it relieves pain. There's like euphoria. Some of the side effects might be that you might get dry mouth. You might giggle a lot. And then for some people, it actually brings in a certain amount of creativity into them. They become more creative. They create great music. They might find spiritual enlightenment. They do it to meditate. There's some people that have practiced that using cannabis in their religion. Some of that, yeah.
That sounds just like our cannabis too, actually.
Oh.
Perhaps it's more similar than I thought.
Oh. Well, I mean, and so now there's a theory that that marijuana actually was brought to Earth as an extraterrestrial plant. Can I ask, do you know anything about that, or is that true or not?
Well, the truth of the matter is, if it did come, it would have come many millions, perhaps billions of years before other species arrived on Earth. I believe that different types of cannabis are indigenous to various worlds. But we could check the cell structure and see if the DNA traces back to other planets. Of course, I don't know if anyone's checked the deoxyribonucleic acid within a cell structure of that, but we could always check the building blocks,
Wow. So I have now is marijuana illegal on any of your planets, or any planets that you know of out there, or are you guys just a little bit more evolved and it's just completely totally socially acceptable and used correctly?
Well, the universe is not a free place yet. There are wars and battles going on constantly. Ideologies are shared. It's actually very much like Earth. But yes, in answer to your question, there are various worlds out there who have legalized cannabis.
That is great. So now, does now here's something here in America. Well, America, I don't know. I only know America right now, but here on our planet, a lot of people say that smoking marijuana can make you horny, or make you like want to, or it makes sex better. Does that happen with you guys?
Well, I would think that marijuana could make sex better. It's, if you're rolling around in a field of marijuana with someone, that could definitely be fun. As for the, psychogenic effects of marijuana on two individuals who are making love, as you know, it's all based on psychology where humans are concerned. Of course, I'm new to human psychology. But in the other parts of the universe, yes, marijuana can have a very toxic effect on your sex life.
Oh, now you say you're new to human psychology. Is that why you're here? Are you here to study what humans are like?
Absolutely. I actually do a little time travel. And during my travels, I've been able to see humans from their primordial sexual infancy all the way up to today. Of course, I have a lot more research to do. I got an ad up on Match.com.
So do you have any takers? I mean, are there people out there that, because Match.com, I heard that Match.com, they're a little picky about the profiles that people have on it. I had a friend of mine who applied for Match.com and they rejected him and he went to hornymatch.com.
Oh,
So yeah.
is your friend ugly? What a loser. How come he got rejected? Let me guess, he put up a picture of cannabis instead himself.
No, but he is a cannabis smoker. Uh,
Did he list that in his, well, look, as far as how I'm doing on it, no, I have not had any takers yet.
So, I mean, like, now, are you looking for another human to experience, or are there other people like you out there that are kind of hidden? We can't see them, but you might say, "Hey, I'm looking for my own kind."
Well, to be honest with you, I have a little bit of a human fetish, but if my mother knew I was here doing that, she'd be fairly upset with me.
Oh, really? That's interesting. That I've never heard of anything us being referred to being a human fetish. Now, can you describe a little bit? I mean, is there a whole group of people that are into the human fetish thing?
Oh, well, whatever floats your boat, as they say. Yes, the truth of the matter is, when I say fetish, I just mean I find humans fascinating in every way. And that includes physical closeness as well. However, I have no takers, but I'm here to learn.
Whew, I think I'm getting kind of like, I might actually take, you know what, I could maybe, you think maybe you might want to go out with me sometime?
Am I stimulating you?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say, well, I guess so, yeah. I mean, I'm open to exploring an alien relationship.
I think we'd do fine together, but if I put you in my vehicle, I don't want to get arrested for having pot in there. Is that understood?
I mean, I, I would not bring my pot in your vehicle. That is yeah, and as a matter of fact, I don't even drive with weed in my vehicle. Actually, believe it or not, I'm pretty straight about that.
I don't
Um,
believe you.
you don't believe me? Okay.
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. You're such an advocate for marijuana. I would think that the first thing you do is throw a challenge in the face of the governmental forces who are trying to restrain you.
Yeah, but but I'm already doing that, and because I'm doing that, they might come after me more, and so I'm thinking, well, if I don't have it on me, I'll be like, no, I'm just talking about it. So there's nothing. No, I mean, I purchase it. I mean, like, well, I don't purchase it. I mean, well, I do purchase it. I guess I don't know if the term purchase is really the correct thing to say, because when you go into a dispensary, they say you donate or you donate to the collective that actually really grows your marijuana if you live in a state that has medical marijuana. So I donate when I make my donation, and I have to transport it from in my vehicle from the location that I got it from to like where I go home at, then legally I'm protected as long as I have like either a state health issued card or if I have my recommendation on me. Now, if I don't have those things, I could get into trouble. But really, in most states, they're not so much concerned about persecuting a person for having marijuana on them, even if they have it illegally. It's such like now, like the state of California, it's a misdemeanor. So there's all these different kinds of like our states are pretty lax about marijuana, and yet they seem to be really, combating people who want to actually have dispensaries.
So am I to understand then that it is legal in California, and that's the state you're in?
Well, I am a California slash Oregon person, and so I go from both states now. But it's illegal in California medicinally, and it's also legal in Oregon medicinally. So I only moved to the states that have it legal. And we also are in the state of Oregon. It is on the ballot right now to have it voted for recreational use. But
So
you know
the problem is that the federal government will clamp down on it with their regulations, even if the state legalizes it?
That's right. Our federal government is basically not recognizing our state laws, and it has to do with the 10th Amendment, with transporting marijuana from state to state. State is basically their excuse. But, of course, there's a lot, in my opinion, if you do some research, there's a lot more reasons why the federal government is stepping in my opinion. And being tipping off into that subject matter, some of it has to do with certain families that like say the J.P. Morgans and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and DuPont, all these people who actually are the head of our Federal Reserve here, as well as the head of the bankers like Chase Manhattan and Bank of America, all that kind of stuff. Those people are very much participants in making marijuana illegal, and also it comes up to the subject matter of our government, which I want to ask you about, and we're going to show a video clip right quick here about what your opinion might be. Louis C.K. is a really well-known comedian, and he was on a radio show, I believe Opie and Andy, or I should know this better than that, but they actually had Donald Rumsfeld on the show, where he asked Donald Rumsfeld if he was a reptilian lizard, and I want to get your thoughts on that particular matter too, as well, since you're here and since you are intergalactic. Maybe you might have an opinion on that as well. So we're going to take a quick little break and show the video clip with Louis C.K. Giving Donald Rumsfeld a hard time and asking if he was a lizard or not. We'll be right back.
We got to go right to the phone.
Oh, my God. Turn that music down.
And welcome Donald Rumsfeld to the Opie and Anthony Show.
Sir?
Yes, indeed. How are you?
Very good. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rumsfeld.
Have you ever been interviewed where you got upset with how it went and then actually did anything to exact revenge on the person?
Never.
Why would he do that, Louis?
I don't know.
That's Louis C.K.
Because, you know, if you're a man of power, it's got to be an interesting thought at least.
No, got to expect people to come at you because in our wonderful country, everyone can have their own opinion. They can have intense opinions.
It's interesting, though, because there are people who think, I mean, here's a guy who met Eisenhower as a congressman and, worked for Ford and Nixon and Reagan and both Bushes. And there's still those people out there that think, Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney are actually lizards who, I mean, literally, there's people that think they're lizards from outer space.
Yeah, that's true.
Who eat human flesh. I don't know if anybody's ever asked you directly, sir, but are you a lizard?
I don't think
Are
he's a
you
lizard.
actually? Can you just please give that a straight answer? Let him answer. Are you a lizard?
Here's the short answer.
Yeah.
I'm in New York City. I walk down the street. People walk up, shake hands, stop me. They want an autograph.
He's a lizard.
Want to get a photograph with me. Go to eat last night at dinner, and Joyce and I were sitting there in the little Italian restaurant. and a man came up and said he'd like to buy my dinner, and I
Yeah.
You didn't answer the question.
He's not going to
I think you're
dignify.
hanging around with the wrong people.
He's not going to dignify an answer to, are you a lizard,
he
Louis?
deflected.
Why not?
He
Because
deflected.
he's
No.
not a lizard.
What is this story about getting somebody paid for your dinner? I would pay for a lizard's dinner.
I
if
think I understood the fact that there are people out there that appreciate what he's done as
totally.
a leader. And
there's plenty of evidence that this guy is a well-decorated and
Yes.
appreciated American. And he has
patriot.
more credibility than almost anybody.
Exactly.
But I just want to know if he's a lizard.
He's not a lizard. Stop it.
Anybody falling? Anybody feel they're falling?
about the reptilian race and the fact that they may be running the world. Is that true or not?
Well, you know, reptilians, they're not the smartest species in the world. So whether or not they could actually run the world or somehow hide within human bodies, I'm not sure it's completely, well, let's just say that sooner or later, one of them would walk out in front of a car and probably end up in the hospital, and some doctor would go, hey, this man is not human. So, especially for the stone.
Looking at Bush, though, I don't know if he was the brightest bulb in the world, right? And so
He couldn't possibly have been alien. He had to be one of yours.
Great. So that's very funny. So now you are all about, like, what do you think about this presidential election that's happening right now? From your alien point of view.
Well, I'll tell you what I believe is happening, although I have yet to be able to prove it. It has happened in planets all across the universe where aliens come and they inject themselves into your society. They tend to be very intelligent, so they make their way to positions of power until they control both sides, or even the third party. And then they find ways to divide humans using ideologies. I think that's what may be happening here. I think that you are infiltrated. I think that the aliens have figured out your weaknesses. One's of religious ideology, others of, well, shall we say, you know, the more liberal mind. And they get together and they tear you apart in such a manner rather as being united. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but it is suspicious that a country so united and so powerful is so divided.
Yes, well, you know, and I agree with you actually. But but they're saying that those aliens that are doing that are actually reptilian. So I mean, but they're not. They're something else, or they're saying that they're hybrid people doing that. So I'm going back to the reptilian thing, but I have also heard that theory, so it's really good to hear an alien actually back that up. So now, why are you here in specifically in the United States? Are you going into show business yourself?
You know, I figure that the best way to gain the ear of the people and the most powerful country in the world is to engage in show business. Stand-up comedy is the place of ideas and free speech, the freest speech anywhere, because you can speak your mind and be as politically correct or incorrect as you want. You should be able to get away with it. If you're doing it well.
Yes.
Yes, my purpose for being here is to engage in that, to engage in all kinds of thought. Some might say I'm a bit of a satirist, but well, you'll have to watch and make your own decisions.
Yes. And so, like, are you now? I heard that you're actually coming, because here's the thing, the listeners out there. With the show and everything like that, we are launching a website called the Atomic Comedy Network. And Hollywood Hemptress Hour has been the first show on the network, but the second show on the network coming up is going to, one of the second shows is going to be your show. You're going to have a show on this network. And so we're, you know, congratulations. That's very exciting. And so now, can you give our viewers a little bit of taste of what your show is going to be about?
Well, as a superior species, at least for the time being, until humans evolve, I feel that I can do more to help humanity by giving you alien solutions. And that just happens to be what I'm good at. So people will call in or contact me here live via the Atomic Comedy Network, and we will discuss their problems, and I will hand down solutions that are perhaps outside of the realm of human thought.
Huh. And so what kind of issues do you expect or feel that your college will probably call in and discuss with you?
Well, I would like to engage in the callers with relationships. I know that relationships are very difficult in intercommunication between humans, particularly with all the racial tension you have today on this world. I would like to talk politics. I'd like to talk basically any problem that an individual has. I can be of service to you humans. Trust me. Trust me.
So, you know, I I do want to trust you actually. So like, what do you feel about gay marriage? Is that allowed on your planet?
Well, I really laugh at the notion that anyone finds gay marriage offensive or homosexuality in any way. It occurs on every planet, in every part of the universe, in every society, except mine. Not on mine. No, I've never seen it there. I'm sorry. But if it does exist, well, we'll fish them out eventually.
So, like you in Iran, because apparently the president of Iran says they don't have gay people there either. Is that? So
you think I might be in a little denial? Is that what you're saying, Terry? Look, let me tell you something. I cannot even get into a sweater vest. All right?
Right.
Now, as far as homosexuality goes, you know, I really do laugh at the notion that people find it offensive because there are different species of all kinds out there. Some are even androgynous. So what do you do about the species that are not male or female? Or what do you do about species who engage in three-way sex in order to procreate? Sometimes it's a male, a female, and a progenitor, which is neutral, but is necessary to procreate. Does that mean you don't let them have their rights as well? What's going to happen?
To be progenitor.
Hey, I'm sure you would. We'll get around to that. Yeah. Here, you can. I got one of these primitive technologies. You can text me anything you like, Terry.
So one of the big things here that people, a big hoopla, and one of the issues that we're very concerned about here in the United States, and it's kind of become a political platform about female or women's reproductive rights. Do you have an alien viewpoint on that?
I do indeed, and I again must laugh at the idea that human males are telling females what to do with their bodies, that they are dictating or attempting to dictate from the pulpit of their own ideologies. Rather than listening to the science, who has already determined that an abortion up to 3 months is acceptable, and well, here's what I think about it. Human life, it's important to protect it. Physiologically, sperm cells are also human life. They carry human DNA, and they are indeed from humans. Therefore, and they're alive, so that's human life. So that means every time human males masturbate and blow off a few, run semen on the carpet or wherever, you're killing millions and millions of little human lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be equal. If women cannot have abortions because that's considered human life, then men may not masturbate anymore. There should be an equal law. They should not be allowed to destroy human life in any capacity. And that also means, because human does not exist well in the human mouth, no more blowjobs. Blowjobs are gone. There should be equal legislation. If women cannot terminate a life as they see it, then men can no longer terminate all those little human lives as well.
Well, I think that will make the Republicans change their mind, don't you? I mean, if they can't get any blowjobs, what is a politician to do?
Well, Clinton showed us that they're happening for sure.
For sure. So now you have a few pictures from your planet that you want to share with us, so that I feel like as humans, it's really important for us to get used to a look of other alien people and species that we're not. Because if we can't deal with races, how are we? And having somebody like have different skin color, we need to get used to looking at people from different planets. Do you have can we see some of those photos today?
You are indeed a very, very heterogeneous species, aren't you? Here is a friend of mine from the planet Natura 4. He's a good man. You can tell his eyes are a little glazed over. He does partake in the weed as well. Well, this is one of yours, actually. I believe you call him E.T. the extraterrestrial. And as you can see, although, well, I don't know.
Wait, is he giving the finger? Or, oh, wow, there's a joint.
Yes, I decided to include one of those. It's actually not a joint. It's an alien species who can shapeshift. Then there's our little friend again. And then this is the greatest bong ever created. It's a spacesuit. And that's how it works. You just blow the smoke inside, and then you just keep inhaling.
Great. That's a great vaporizer. I think it would be good on the lungs,
Clever, if I do say so. Humans,
It is. It is. Gosh, we want to thank you so much for. Oh, one last question. Do you have reality television on your planet?
The
Because I'm
truth
not a fan.
Oh, well, reality television almost dumbed down our society, so we got rid of it altogether.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'd like to congratulate you humans on one step in evolution by taking Jersey Shore off the air. Congratulations. But no sooner did you take a step forward in your development than I see Honey Boo Boo on TV. Sad humans, really, really sad.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I think that reality television smacks of Darwinism, and it's training us bad stuff. Well, I really want to thank you so much for coming onto the show. I'm looking forward to seeing your show on the Atomic Comedy Network, and hopefully you'll allow me to be a guest on your show sometime. I would love that.
Of course. I want to start off answering your problems, Terry.
Oh, I do have some, and when I come on your show, I'll make sure that I share them with you.
Excellent. We'll talk to you then.
Thank you. Bye. So...
That was the alien comedian here on Hollywood Hemptress Hour. Make sure that you keep searching. We are going to launch. We're not launching. We're launching the Atomic Comedy Network very soon, and we'll make sure that we make an announcement here on Hollywood Hemptress Hour so you can check it out and become a fan of ours. And you'll see the alien comedian on his own show. But right now, we're going to take a break, and we're going to see a clip coming up really soon, and then we're going to have Shiloh Jinglefoot back with G-Licious Dishes. Stay tuned.
Raised in a kosher home. You know, no ham, no pork, no bacon, which was all well and good until I turned 17 and I ate bacon for the first time, at which point I was incensed at these people for keeping it from me. I took 2 pieces of that bacon, I ran home, I threw my dad against the wall, I waved that bacon in front of his face and I screamed at him at the top of my lungs, "Have you tasted this stuff?" Now, I'll eat bacon anytime, anywhere, on anything I like. I'll go to Baskin Robbins at 10 in the morning, order the banana split, take out my baggie of crispy bacon and sprinkle it right on top. I know it's got to do with God and the religious laws and all that stuff, but I gotta tell you, for myself, quite frankly, I don't know if I want to be loved by a God that won't let me eat bacon. Okay, Merlin, it's yours. Oh, and I challenge any comic watching this to contact me and see if they dare engage in pit bull comedy.
But I just want to make a mention of the last clip that you just saw right now. That is Howie Wallfish, who is going to be on next week's show, and we're looking forward to having him. That's just a little teaser there. But right now, we have Shiloh Jinglefoot with G-Licious Dishes online with another fantastic cannabis recipe out there from her fabulous book that you can get as well. And we'll let you know how you can get her book at the end of the segment. How are you, Shiloh?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you, Terry?
I'm doing really good. I'm actually we've had a good show so far. We had the alien comedian on. What's your take on that? Do you think that we have life on other planets?
Absolutely. How could there not be?
Right. So what do you have? What do we have cooking in the kitchen today?
Today is a classic, and it is something that you can keep on hand pretty much forever. It's called Blast Off Croutons, and And I don't know if you like dry bread or the crunchy dried bread, but I love those things and can dip it in ranch and barbecue sauce and honey mustard and whatever you want. I love them. So, and how you do it is you get a loaf of day-old bread or even 2-day-old bread, some pretty stale bread, and a half a cup of midnight oil and 1 to 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. So you take all your spices and you put them in a bowl and you mix them up and they're dried, and you cut that loaf of bread into 1 inch, or depending on what size you like your croutons. I usually like them in 1-inch squares, so I would slice the bread in 1-inch slices and then cube it, and then put that into a bowl, add your spices and your midnight oil, and give it a toss. Make sure that each one of your croutons is coated with the midnight oil and the spices, and you put that on a baking sheet, and you put it in your oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until they get crunchy, and your oven would be on about 300 degrees. And then once they get crunchy, you let them cool, you put them in a zip, and you have croutons. And really, I've had them for, well, I made them really, and they stayed good for up to 2 months. So as long as they stay, where you don't get a lot of humidity, there's an effect. Because the midnight oil gets soaked up by the bread, and so it's just these beautiful morsels of ganja crunchiness that is divine.
Wow, that recipe, because I love croutons and crunchy things and things to dip into sauces. Every time you are on the show, I'm right now my mouth is watering.
Yeah.
I'm just oh, that sounds so good.
The great part about this recipe is if you cut them up even into smaller pieces, or even if you want to leave them in 1-inch, they act as chips. And they're really great chips. And again, nobody will ask you a question because it'll smell like garlic and salt and pepper. And so you just put some croutons in a Ziploc baggie and take them to lunch with you. And nobody's the wiser for it. And they are delicious. They are just like crunchy, the salt and savory ganja treats.
Now, is there a specific dosage that somebody should be aware of if they are?
So what you would be eating of these croutons? Okay, so if you got a loaf of French bread and then a half a cup of midnight oil, you could eat up to a cup, about a cup of the actual croutons, which would be anywhere between 8 to 12 pieces, which I think is a reasonable size, because I can throw down 12 pieces of croutons easily. So, so 12 pieces is about the dosage once you make it upon this recipe.
I could definitely do that too. For some reason, as you were giving me the recipe, I visualized somebody who would be ill. Let's say you were, a cancer patient, or you suffered from AIDS, or any of you were really needing to medicate yourself in a way. It just seems like something that would be really comforting to eat. You could throw it on top of a salad, or all kinds of different ways. I feel, and a lot of times, if you're nauseated, sometimes eating a bread or a cracker, it helps as well.
Oh, absolutely. And it's actually a cracker that is, palatable, because usually when you're sick and you're going through, if you're going through chemo or you're having nausea issues, then, crackers don't seem very good to put on your stomach. And cardboard, blah, but a crouton or two gives you that bread, and also, and you will be hungry, the munchies always come with this stuff, so don't be afraid.
Well, you might as well have something where you can have your munchies and your cannabis all in the same thing. People say, oh, whenever you smoke weed, you want to eat a pizza, or have certain types of items. So it seems like it might be good. Before we go, the first show that we did here and had you on, we lost the footage, and you had a wonderful story about flying at the airport with your.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, is there any way that we can have that story again so that our viewers can really hear it this time?
Absolutely. I am very proud to tell this story and have told it many times. I'll tell it again.
Okay.
So I was flying from Denver to Washington, D.C., and I am a medical marijuana red card holder. And so I called the airport and I said, how do I travel with my medicine? And they, of course, transferred me over to, I got transferred around for a while, and then I got to airport security, who then told me that if I had my red card with me, that I would just need to present it through the x-ray machines and show them my red card and ID, and I could have up to 4 ounces on me at that time. To not put it into my bags, but to go ahead and put it through the machines, just like you would a laptop, cell phone, your shoes, belts, whatever. So that's exactly what I did. I had an ounce of weed and 3 suckers and 2 earwax joints and a dirty pipe and a lighter, all in a brown paper bag, and I put it through the x-ray machine, and I couldn't believe it because, I've been, not ever showing security that I have such things, even if I did travel with them.
Yeah.
And so there it goes through the machine, and I walk right through Denver Airport, and they don't even ask me for my red card. They don't even ask. They let the bag go completely through, and ended up wanding and, patting down the person I was traveling with, which had nothing on her in any way, shape, or form, and they patted her down, and they didn't even ask me for my card.
God, the irony of it all. It's just amazing. Now, you were going to a medical marijuana state. I wonder if
it's true, but
if the same thing would. Did you ask?
I did. I asked the security when I was on the phone with them. I was just like, so what are the rules with, where you're flying to on if you're allowed to have medicine? And the security said that it wasn't up to them to, it would be my responsibility if I flew into a state that didn't have, any medicinal marijuana laws, be responsible to that state's laws, which is, of course, a given. Like if I go into Virginia and I have a whole bunch of weed, they could bust me upon arrival if they wanted to. But going into D.C., there was no problem. Going into Michigan, going into California, again, there's no problem. And again, they never look at your bags when you come into the airport, when you fly in.
Right.
You've already gone through security.
You've already done your drug
Security is
trafficking. No, I'm kidding.
Right. Right.
So anyway, on that note, I do want to thank you for calling into the show. We're really happy that you're a part of the show. And where can our listeners download your ebook or even purchase a book that would be autographed? So where can our listeners find it?
Absolutely. If you buy a book and reference the Hollywood Hemptress Hour, because it's the coolest hour you're going to hear, then you will get an autographed copy of my book at ganjalicious.com. Go ahead and phonetically spell it. Google will know where you're going. Ganjalicious.com, and you can buy the book for $14.20, and you can buy the ebook for $7.77, and talk on the blog. We've got all kinds of action going on politically. So if you want to hear how medical marijuana and politics are working, check us out. Facebook. We're also on Twitter. It's under Ganjalicious. You can find us.
That's great. Well, thank you, Shiloh, and we will be in touch with you next week. Until then, have a happy with your.
Thank you.
All right.
I will, and I hope you will have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That was our show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just want to let our listeners and our viewers know that you can also like us on Facebook at Hollywood Hemptress Hour. Also, we are on Twitter at Hollywood Hemptress, and I'm on Twitter at Terry Joyce. Also, I'm on Facebook with Terry Joyce, and that's Tere Joyce. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.